Hey everybody, it's Indy. I wanted to do a book review. It's going to be my first one on the channel. And it is midnight, and I just barely finished the book right now. I told my friend Anna Joy 71 that I would be doing a review on this book shortly. We were messaging each other on Facebook a little while ago, and she asked me, how is the book? So I told her if she wants to wait for me to put the review up on YouTube, I'll tell her through the video. I guess she's debating if she wants to purchase this book or not. So it's called CHARMS, Spells and Formulas, and it is by Ray T. Malbrough. I hope I am saying his last name right. I am sorry if you ever see this video. I don't know how to say your last name. But yeah, I want to say that I absolutely love this book. It's coming from Llewellyn's Practical Magic series, okay? So obviously Llewellyn is the publisher. I absolutely love anything that comes from Llewellyn. I've been reading books from that publishing company since I first began studying at 15. Well, actually 18 is when I actually was able to purchase books on my own without my mother telling me I couldn't. The only books that I really didn't enjoy much from them were anything from Silver Ravenwolf, and I have a video on that, and it's just my opinion. But yeah, so back here it just says the different descriptions of the book, and I'm assuming that Raymond Buckland and Ray T. Malbrough are friends, or they know each other very well, because I noticed that in the book, he mentions him several times in the book. He actually has, back here, let me get to it, his conclusionary chapter, and he's like his first suggestion for book reading, and it seems like he really values Raymond Buckland's work, okay? And Raymond Buckland is a very knowledgeable person in craft knowledge and such things like that. So I don't blame him. So the one thing that I am going to point out now, if you decide to buy this book or read it, or borrow it from someone and read it, there's going to be a few typos. You're going to see a few grammatical errors. If that doesn't bother you, then by all means get the book, because the content and what the author is trying to get across to the reader, to me, is what matters. Yes, I know that it is important for a book to be professional looking and everything proper when it comes out, but sometimes it just doesn't happen that way. And there can be one or two mistakes. I could probably count like about 5 that I had seen, but it was like a letter misplaced, or they forgot capitalization at the beginning of a sentence. It was small, minor details that I looked over, because the book itself I absolutely love. So as you guys know, I'm learning about hoodoo and root work and conjure magic and any of that. And so I have someone who is helping me along the way with that, and she told me that from her practice, and she's been practicing since she was 13, from her practice, that you create your own moral ethics with practicing hoodoo and root work, that it doesn't necessarily go by a karmic law. It's more so that you build your own ethics that you follow like you protect yourself when you have to. If the concept is, if a robber comes to your home and points a gun at your children, are you just going to let him just do it, or are you going to attack him? So that's the concept. But here, within the first few pages, the author makes note about karmic law, just like how I've been seeing in other books and things like that. So I had to recheck with her just to be sure, and she told me that she remembers when she read this book, she did see that. And she said to not worry about that, that it's more based off of your belief and your own personal belief of karma, I guess. So, okay, so that was that. So basically the first chapter is going over what magic is in terms of hoodoo and conjure and root work. And it gives you like basic altar layout and stuff. But he does point out several times in the book that by all means go by your gut feeling of how you set things up. It doesn't have to be what he says here. So that part I really did like, because I don't believe you have to follow one set way. That's why I couldn't belong to a tradition in Wicca, for example, like Alexandrian or Gardnerian. I couldn't do it. I have to be able to be free to follow my gut and follow my heart. Second chapter is Charms. It talks about gree bags, mojo bags. You're going to see my little markings throughout. It talks about talismans, herbs, and what they, can be used for, like success, health, protection from evil. And it's crazy because I think it's crazy that he notes to not do anything evil, basically, with the magic, but he does put in things like this. Okay, so I'm thinking what he's doing is, his personal belief is don't do anything negative, but he's not going to hide the information from the reader, and it's at their own risk, or whatever that they're responsible for their own actions. It goes over stones, kind of stones that you could use, how to protect your home, things like that. So Charms chapter is pretty long, and it's only because he's giving different rituals and spells you can do. So that can get lengthy right there. As you can see, I'm still flipping, and there we go. My favorite part, because I'm currently working with Poppet, Dolls and Magic, so that's chapter 3, as you can see. I noted Dave, chapter and it just goes over, a very, very brief history on, doll magic and how to, what kind of material you can use to make dolls with and such, things concerning dolls. And then what you can make dolls for and the different rituals that you can go over. And then it just goes on with, the rituals and such as, things such as, and here I go, flippy. And I'm flipping. Oh, this one was a short chapter. Chapter 4, The Evil Eye. My mom always taught me about this, mal de ojo in Spanish. Okay, mal de ojo. It's the same thing as evil eye. And it talks about how you can tell that you got the evil eye, I guess, and how you can get rid of it. Okay. And that's very short. It's just like 4 pages long. Then the chapters start getting smaller. Chapter 5 is folk spells and miscellaneous, and things like how to bind a lover to you, to make a man love you. That one's a little gross. You can read that. Read it. Yeah, not very appealing to me. I had a hysterectomy, so that would not apply to me. And then it talks about magic lamps, which I've never heard of before. So, yeah, you can use magic lamps instead of, candles and stuff. So I think that's cool. Formulas. So it just basically goes over incenses, oils, powders, and washes. The washes caught my attention, of course, the incense, because I always buy my incense. I never make it. So I want to make my own incense. It even tells you that it has like a little handy table here telling you, you know, conversion table. See, it tells you what a dram equals to, you know, and things like that. So I think that's very good. And then it gives you little incense recipes that you can use, which I am dying to make because they sound just wow, like amazing. Then we have anointing oils in chapter 7. It just goes over the little tiny history on oils, and then the kind of, oh crappers, look at that, the kind of oils you can make. And then it goes on to powders, if I'm not mistaken. And let me get to that. Oh, it even has anointing oils that can go by astrological signs, which is really, really interesting. Sprinkling powders, and it goes over what they're for and how you can use them, and the recipes, and it is very short. And then chapter 9 is about washes, floor washes, which I really want to get into as well. And it just goes over what a wash is and how you use it, and then recipes to make a wash. One that caught my attention was this 4 Thieves vinegar, and I just found it interesting. Now, chapter 10 is the last chapter before the conclusionary chapter, and I went to look this up on Google, and it kept telling me that it means when you're going to a market and you're buying something. Let's just say you're going to go buy a donut, and you buy a dozen, and if you say La Yapa, they give you an extra donut. So it means to give you a little extra of something, and that in Louisiana and other parts of the world that they actually still practice that, because this is an old practice, to give a little extra when somebody buys you something, and that there are certain places in the world that if you still say Yapa after you buy something, that they know what it means, and they'll give you a little extra something, like a little bag of cilantro or something like that, something to go as a little extra to your to the item you've purchased, and that it comes from a Spanish word or something of the like, or Spanish Creole, and that it literally means to give a little extra of something. So this chapter, I'm not understanding why I couldn't find on Google this word pertaining to this ritual. It's a ritual that's called La Ñapa. Okay, La Ñapa, I hope I'm saying it right. And it's a it looks very Christian-based. So hopefully, if anyone knows about it, Crystal Moon Goddess 40, if you know what that is, please tell me. And then it goes on to, you know, the ritual goes on. And it goes on, and then it talks about angelic day candles, and it tells you who the archangels and regular angels are and how you could invoke them. And then it's another ritual, a candlelight ritual. This one, psalms that you can use for solving problems. So that's definitely something that I enjoyed, because I still involve some Christian, some Christianity in my practice. So then there's prayers to saints, which again goes with my orishas, Maya Maya and Oshun and Shango and Elegua, Batala, all of them. And then prayers to each saint. This one was interesting, prayer to Saint Jude. Okay, and it says here, many practitioners have told me that Saint Jude will grant you your wish, but he will also keep you in a bind so that you will continue to pray to him, or constantly pray to him. So yeah, that one's interesting. So yeah, it just keeps going on, and then it goes on to that conclusionary chapter where it explains, if you are doing services for somebody, or you become out there and provide services for people, advice that he gives on how to conduct yourself, and then a supply source. And this book is some years old, so I don't know if this is up to date anymore. So yeah, there's my book review. I hope you liked it. I absolutely love this book. If you don't mind typos, then don't pay attention to them. There's only a few in there. It does not take away the value of the information in this book. Blessed be.